اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. We are on page 38, 39 of Beginning of Guidance, the Beginning of Guidance. Remember, Imam Ghazali rahimahullah is teaching us in this book a daily routine and how we should be practicing upon everything we're learning in the other classes. So up till now, Imam Ghazali spoke about how we wake up in the morning, we use the washroom, we do wudu, how we do ghusl if necessary. And now, because in some cases a person may not have water, Imam Ghazali now is talking about how to do tayammum. How to do tayammum. Before we start this, I would like to clarify one thing. Imam Ghazali, as we know, is a Shafi'i. According to Imam Shafi'i, tayammum is called tahara dhururi, which means it's a necessary or out of necessity form of purification. So according to him, az-zurura yataqaddaru biqadri az-zurura, that a necessity is only for the amount that is absolute necessity. What does that mean? What that means is, according to him, with this wudu you would only be able to pray one prayer. Where according to Imam Abu Hanifa, it is wudu kamil. It is just like wudu, tayammum. So according to Imam Abu Hanifa and the everything else we're studying, you would be able to pray as much as you want with tayammum. There is no restriction on how much you'd be able to pray. Okay, that's all I want to heads up before we go into this. One more thing is, based on the same principle, we say that you could do wudu before tayammum before the time even starts. I will give all the proofs in Ascent to Felicity. In Ascent to Felicity, all that will come. Remember, this book's purpose is to bring the spiritual aspect into what we do. Okay, but he's just giving us a daily routine. So in this class, I won't lean too much on the proofs and things. We'll do that in Ascent to Felicity. Okay? This goes into a topic of taqleed. And it's not everyone's responsibility to know the proofs for everything. No. As long as someone knows the proofs, then that is enough for the entire community. Let's continue. Let's start, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. آداب التيمم. فإن عجزت عن الماء لفقده بعد الطلب أو لمانع من الوصول إليه من سبع أو من حابس أو كان الماء الحاضر تحتاج إليه لعطشك أو عطش رفيقك أو كان ملكا لغيرك ولم يبيع إلا بأكثر من ثمن المثل أو كان بك جراحة أو مرض تخاف منه على نفسك فاصبر حتى يدخل وقت الفريضة.
Let's stop there. Listen to this. Very, very detailed. If you are unable to find any water after looking for it, so first condition, you have to look. You have to look. Or some obstacle prevents you from reaching it, like you're in prison, or an animal or something is stopping you, or the water you have is only enough for you or your companions' drinking needs, or the water available is the property of someone else who wants to sell it for more than the market rate, or you have an illness or a wound that if it comes in contact with water could be life-threatening. These are all the conditions for doing tayammum. You got it? Let's look at it one more time. You can't find water. You found water, but it's not close. You can't get to it. Next thing, you have water, but you need it to drink, or your buddy needs it to drink. Neighbor has water, but he's selling it to you for $1,000 because he knows you're a Muslim and you have to pray. He's non-Muslim, let's say. All these situations, you are allowed to do tayammum. Got it? You can't get to the water. Well, the first thing is you can't find water. Second thing, you found water but something's stopping you. Number 3, you have water but you need it for drinking. Number 4, someone has water near you but he's selling it for $1,000. $100. You don't have to buy it. If he's selling it for market rate, by the way, you have to buy it to do wudu. Okay? Everyone understand? If he's selling a bottle of water for $1, you have to do it. $10? No. I'll do tayammum. Get out of here. Type. Now, the next thing is because Imam AL-GHAZALI is a Shafi, he says, wait until the time begins. We're going to learn Hanafi, you don't have to wait till the time. I just explained that. Let's continue.
ثم اقصد صعيدا طيبا عليه تراب خالص طاهر لين فاضرب عليه كفيك ضاما بين أصابعك وانوي استباحة الصلاة وامسح بهما وجهك كله مرة واحدة ولا تتكلف إيصال الغبار إلى منابت الشعور خفت أو كتفت ثم انزع خاتم.
Okay, so he goes, strike your hands on the, then find a clean earth on which there is pure dust. So anything that is from the earth, you can do tayammum on that thing. There does not have to be any dust on that thing. If you take a marble, a solid slab of marble, which is a rock, and you touch your hands upon that marble, chances are there's not going to be any residue on your hands. But because you touch something from the jints of the earth, from the earth, you can use this. This is not what Imam he's saying here. I'm telling you according to the Hanafi. You touch that thing, now you can do tayammum with that thing. Okay? What he's saying here is this. You have to find dirt or dust. Put your hands on it. Keep your fingers together. With the intention of making the prayer permissible for you. Your niyyah is that I want to pray. Then wipe your entire face with your hands once. So you hit the stone. You hit your hands together, knocking off the extra, and you wipe your face. Okay? You wipe your entire face. One time. Then what do? Once. You need not make the dust reach the roots of your facial hair, thick or thin. The point is not that you get dirt everywhere. The point is not that you get dirt in every nook and cranny. No, you just wipe your entire face, make sure you go through all the points, and then your tayammum is done. Okay? It's that reason is why we hit our hands. Blow the extra off. Okay? Let's continue.
ثم انزع خاتمك واضرب ضربة ثانية مفرجا بين أصابعك.
Now the next thing you do is you strike again, once again now, and you're going to take your ring off so that you make sure you get your entire hand covered up to your elbows. Okay? Continue.
وامسح بهما يديك مع مرفقيك فإن لم تستوعبهما فاضرب ضربة أخرى إلى أن تستوعبهما ثم امسح إحدى كفيك بالأخرى وامسح ما بين أصابعك بالتخليل وصل به فرضا واحدا وما شئت من النوافل بعد الفرض فإذا أردت فرضا ثانيا فاستأنف له تيمما آخر.
Yes, so he says, now wipe your arms including the elbows with your hands. If you do not go over the whole area the first time, because he's saying that it's necessary that you get dirt and dust everywhere. You don't have to do that. Then what does he say? The earth one more time and wipe the arms until you have gone over the entire area. Next, wipe each of the palms with the other and wipe the spaces in between your fingers. Now perform one obligatory prayer with this tayammum. This is according to Imam Shafi. Along with any nafils that you want. So you can pray one obligatory but any nafils you want. Then if you want to perform another obligatory, you have to do another tayammum.
Is for tayammum, can you break it the same way as like wudu?
Yes.
Can you bleed or anything like that?
Except there's one more thing that breaks wudu, or breaks tayammum. Common sense, you can figure it out too. Everything that breaks wudu breaks tayammum except one extra thing.
The presence of water.
The presence of water. If you're praying with tayammum and someone walks in, says, hey, we got water, your wudu broke. Okay? So the presence of water breaks your tayammum too. Shall we continue? Shall we continue?
آداب الخروج إلى المسجد.
Now Imam Ghazali is teaching us how to go to the masjid. Now he's teaching us how we should go to... Because remember, we were in the house. We were just in the house. We did wudu. Now he's saying, now you're going out to the masjid. What do? Listen closely.
فإذا فرغت من طهارتك فصل في بيتك ركعتي الفجر.
Let's stop there. When you have finished your purification, pray 2 rakats of the sunnah of your fajr in your home. This is based on a hadith, لا تجعل بيوتكم قبورا. Do not make your houses like graveyards. Meaning there should be some life in your house. This also tells us what's the true life of a house. What's the true life of an individual? Prayer and connection with Allah. This is life. So this hadith says, لا تجعل بيوتكم قبورا. Don't make your houses like graveyards. And this hadith is saying, pray at home some sunnahs too. Pray at home some sunnahs too. Continuing.
فإذا فرغت من طهارتك فصل في بيتك ركعتي الفجر إن كان الفجر قد طلع كذلك كان يفعل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Yes, so this is the action of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he would pray his sunnahs at home, then come to the masjid.
ثم توجه إلى المسجد ولا تدع الصلاة في جماعة لا سيما صلاة الصبح.
Yes, listen to this. He says, do not fail to pray with congregation, especially the morning prayer. We're the total opposite. We'll pray every other prayer as we can in the masjid, but Fajr is the hardest. He's saying especially Fajr. Why? Why is he saying especially Fajr?
Your day begins.
I guess because it's hard
It's
to
more
get out
than
of bed.
there's more than that. There's more.
Because actually the time of Fajr in when the shift of
The angels change at that time too. There's another reason. Everyone's correct. There's one more reason. There's no uzr. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. There is no preoccupation at that time. The only uzr excuse would be your laziness. So there is, maybe at Asr time you're at work, maybe Maghrib time you're at work, maybe, who knows? But Fajr, what are you doing? What excuse do you have before Allah? So Imam Ghazali is saying, for the men, especially Fajr in the masjid. Especially. Let's go forward.
لا سيما صلاة الصبح فصلاة الجماعة تفضل صلاة الفرد ب27
Yes, if I told you I can give you 27 times more pay at this job. Imagine 27 times more. Right now we're doing the calculations how much we'd be making. Each prayer in the masjid is 27 times better for the men than at home.
You mean salat in congregation?
Yes.
Because congregation can also sometimes happen at home.
No. The jama'ah at home is different from jama'ah at the masjid. And these hadith that talk about the reward for salat al-jama'ah are mostly always talking about salat with the congregation in the masjid. Continuing.
فإن كنت تتساهل في مثل هذا الربح فأي فائدة لك في طلب العلم وإنما ثمرة العلم العمل به.
Yes, so now we're all students of knowledge here, right? Look what he says to us. If you are negligent of such a profitable act, 27 times more profit. If you are negligent about this, what benefit is there for you in the pursuit of knowledge? Why are you sitting in this class learning if you don't even want to get something simple? There's no benefit. He says, after all, the fruit of knowledge is to act upon it. The whole reason you're sitting here is so that you act upon it, not just for knowledge. Continue.
فإذا سعيت إلى المسجد فامشي على هينة وتؤدة ولا تعجل.
Yes, okay, so this is very important. When you go to the masjid, you go with tranquility and do not rush. No speeding, cutting people off. All of these things. Okay? We go with ease for everyone. Imam, everyone. Yeah, you know, I have friends that live in Toronto. A lot of my friends, they live in Toronto in apartments. Very busy city. And almost every apartment complex has a musalla in the bottom floor. So instead of everyone from that complex going all the way to the masjid, they have a nice musalla downstairs. Everyone prays at that musalla.
So that will suffice.
Sahaba. Have you ever read the stories where the Sahaba said, do you remember the story? Umar radiallahu ta'ala said that I used to go one day to the masjid and then my neighbor would go the next day. There's a hadith where Umar radiallahu ta'ala was discussing. He says, I had a neighbor. I would work on the field one day and he would go to the masjid that day. And then the next day I'd go to to the Prophet, sorry. Next day I'd go to the Prophet and listen to anything and he'd work and then I'd come back and tell him. Question arises, where was Umar radiallahu anhu praying then? If he wasn't going to the masjid of the Prophet? No. Every community had their own musalla. They all prayed their own prayers together in their own musalla. For Jummah, everything closes, everyone comes together. So, especially where we live, Glen Burnie should have a musalla. Crofton should have a musalla. This area should have a musalla. That place should have a musalla. Small musalla where everyone gets together to pray.
Can I say something?
Please.
I think what he's trying to understand is that explain to him the difference between musalla and masjid.
Yeah, ever since I came here, I'm trying to figure out what's the difference between them. That's a long discussion, but basically there's a big difference between a masjid and a musalla. There are rulings in Islam that refer to a masjid that don't apply to a musalla at all. For example, masjid can never be sold or changed. There's many rulings. So there's a big difference between a musalla where you pray and a masjid. The big difference. Let's keep with the book, inshallah. Let's go forward, inshallah. So he's saying, don't rush, take your time. And then?
فإذا سعيت إلى المسجد فامشي على هينة وتؤدة ولا تعجل وقل في طريقك اللهم إني أسألك بحق السائلين عليك وبحق الراغبين إليك وبحق ممشاي هذا إليك فإني لم أخرج أشرا ولا بطرا ولا رياء ولا سمعة بل خرجت اتقاء سخطك وابتغاء مرضاتك فأسألك أن تنقذني من النار وأن تدخلني الجنة وأن تغفر ذنوبي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت.
Yes, so he says on your way to the masjid, read this prayer. Now again, if you can't memorize this prayer, then tape it to the dashboard. Or at least put it in the glove box as you get in the car, just take it out and read it. In 1 month you'll have it memorized. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Okay, what is the dua? O my Lord, I beseech you by the right of those who beseech you, and the right of those who long for you, and the right of this walk of mine towards you. I have not left my home intending insolence, nor in arrogance, nor seeking to make a show of my actions. We're reminding ourselves, I'm not going to show off. Nor seeking prestige. Rather, I have come forth from my home in fear of your wrath and in search of your satisfaction. I ask you to save me from the fire and let me enter paradise. And I ask that you forgive my sins, for truly there is none that forgives sins but you. What does this dua do if we read this dua before we go to the masjid? What does it do to you? What does it do? Okay, it's sunnah, we should say it. What do these words do?
They put you in the right frame of mind.
They put you in the right frame of mind. It prepares you.
Makes me humble.
It makes you humble. Exactly. So look, we're going to the masjid, reading this dua, and I strongly recommend, if you don't know Arabic, you need to read this in English. You need the Arabic too, but you need also to know what you're saying. So you remember, as I'm going to the masjid, look what he's saying. I have not left my home for any insolence. I have not left my home for any arrogance or seeking to make show. I don't want people to see me. Even if your niyyah was that, when you read this dua, you're reminding yourself. Do you get it? I hope everyone gets it. Inshallah. So make an effort, right? Highlight this dua, put it somewhere, so whenever you're going to the masjid, you read this dua. Next thing.
آداب دخول المسجد إلى طلوع الشمس.
Okay, so now we got to the masjid. We got to the masjid. What do we do? Remember, it's Fajr time. It's Fajr time.
فإذا أردت دخول المسجد فقدم رجلك اليمنى.
First thing first, right foot into the masjid first. We have to remember this. Where does the masjid begin here? The entrance door? Okay, you said it. That can't be, because the sisters that come in their time of menses, they come in. Whenever we find out the boundaries of this masjid, then we're going to find out where you put your right foot in first. Because a woman can't come into the masjid in her period. So wherever that line is, that's where you're going to put your right foot first. I have yet to find out where that line is. Okay, sister, what I was explaining is that a masjid has different rulings than a place of prayer. A masjid you can't come in when you're on your menses. A place of prayer that we just get together to pray, you can come in anytime. Why do you think we put this like this? Why do you think we're not on that side? Did you ever notice that? We intentionally put the women's area here and all of us facing this way so that you're not in the masjid, you can come anytime to the class. Do you get it? Because we were considering that prayer area as the masjid. So what I'm trying to tell you is there's rulings regarding whether it's a masjid or a musalla. It's not that simple, prayer area. No. It's either a masjid or a musalla. So it's complicated. It's not as simple as it sounds. Okay? Let's go forward though. So put your right foot first and say,
وقل اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم اللهم اغفر لي ذنوبي وافتح لي أبواب رحمتك.
Yes, so as we enter the masjid with our right foot, send salat wa salam and blessings on the Prophet Muhammad and his family, and give them peace. Oh Allah, forgive me of my sins and open to me the doors of your mercy. ومهما رأيت
ومهما رأيت في المسجد من يبيع فقل لا أربح الله تجارتك.
He says, and if you see someone selling something in the masjid, tell him, may Allah make your transaction unprofitable. This is referring to a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, someone was, doing this in the masjid. So the Prophet ﷺ told them that the masjid is not made for this thing. The masjid is strictly for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
وإذا رأيت من ينشد فيه ضالة فقل لا رد الله عليك ضالتك كذلك أمر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Yes, exact same thing. If someone is saying, oh, I lost something, then say to them, may Allah not restore to you what you have lost.
فإذا دخلت المسجد فلا تجلس حتى تصلي ركعتي التحية فإن لم تكن صليت في بيتك ركعتي الفجر فيجزئك أداؤهما عن التحية فإذا فرغت من الركعتين فانوي الاعتكاف وادع بما دعا به رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بعد ركعتي الفجر.
Stop there really quick. When you have entered the masjid, now this is important, everyone can do this. Do not sit down until you have performed 2 rakats of greeting to the masjid. This is very important. Tahiyyatul masjid. That before you sit down, you pray 2 rakats of tahiyyat, greeting to the masjid. Very important. Unless it's a time where it's not permissible to pray. What times would that be? After sunrise until the sun has risen. And between Asr and Maghrib. Okay? At those times and during the khutbah. During the khutbah. Everyone understand? Any other time, you should come into the masjid and pray 2 rakats before you sit down. So that's what he's discussing right.
About high noon.
High noon too, yes, exactly. In the middle of the day. I'm sorry. Then he says, if you have not already performed the 2 rakats of Fajr in your home, performing them will take the place of the greeting of the masjid. So now if you did not pray your sunnahs at home, when you come into the masjid and pray your sunnahs for Fajr, those would also be your tahiyyatul masjid. You don't pray 2 for the masjid and then 2 for your sunnahs. You just pray 2. Understood? Simple? Inshallah. Go forward.
وقل اللهم إني أسألك رحمة من عندك تهدي بها قلبي وتجمع بها شملي وتلم بها شعتي وترد بها ألفتي وتصلح بها ديني وتحفظ بها غائبي وترفع بها شاهدي وتزكي بها عملي وتبيض بها وجهي وتلقيني بها رشدي وتعصمني بها من كل سوء. اللهم إني أسألك إيمانا دائما يباشر قلبي وأسألك يقينا صادقا حتى أعلم أنه لن يصيبني إلا ما كتبته علي وردني بما قسمته لي. اللهم أعطني إيمانا صادقا ويقينا ليس بعده كفر ورحمة أنال بها شرف كرامتك في الدنيا والآخرة.
Yes, so he's telling us that once we're in the masjid now, don't start talking to people. Talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remind yourself for the purpose you're there. Look at this dua he's saying to say, Oh Allah, I ask you for your mercy through which you guide my heart, by which you compose my state of disarray, by which you order my disorder, by which you return me to my state of harmony. We're asking for the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through which you reform me and my religion, by which you preserve my inner state and elevate my outer state, through which you purify my deeds, illuminate my face, instill in me my guidance and protect me from all evil. Look at the next part. This connects to our Aqidah class. Look at this. Oh Allah, I ask you for everlasting faith felt immediately in my heart. I ask you for true certainty so that I know that nothing will befall me except what you have written for me. And make me pleased with what you have allotted me with. O Allah, bless me with sincere faith and certainty after which there is no unbelief, and mercy by which I may receive the honor of your favor in the world, this world and the next. All of these next 2 pages are dua. All of these next 2 pages are dua. So we will read the Arabic for page 43. Go to 45. Everyone turn to 45. I know if we read these, 45. Go to page 45. If I read these du'as, why am I skipping this page? I don't want everyone to fall asleep.
I don't think so, brother, because if they read this, if they understand it, they're going to be praying day and night.
These are very, very, very beautiful du'as.
Very beautiful and very deep, really.
So, just a show of hands. Should we read the du'as, inshallah? We'll read them, inshallah. Read them. So, you have to read the Arabic then too, because the Arabic is beautiful. Okay?
اللهم إني أسألك الصبر عند القضاء والفوز عند اللقاء ومنازل الشهداء وعيش السعداء والنصر على الأعداء ومرافقة الأنبياء.
Yes, oh Allah, I beseech you, I ask you for patience with the decree. Whatever is written for us, we ask Allah for patience in that thing. Whatever is written for us. Then, وَالْفَوْزُ عِنْدَ اللِّقَاءِ. And we ask you for success the day we meet you. I want to be successful the day that I meet you. That's the main success that we want. وَمَنَازِلَ الشُّهَدَاءِ. And the station of the martyrs. And for the life of the fortunate. وَعَيْشُ السُّعَدَاءِ. For assistance against enemies and for companionship of the prophets. Next one.
اللهم إني أنزل بك حاجتي وإن ضعف رأيي.
وقصر, the whole thing. What's wrong?
وقصر عملي وافتقرت إلى رحمتك فأسألك يا قاضي الأمور
It's fine.
ويا شافي الصدور كما تجير بين البحور أن تجيرني من عذاب السعير ومن دعوة التبور ومن فتنة القبور.
Ameen. 1 second. Oh Allah, I lay before you my need, even though my perception be weak. ضعف رأيي. My perception, my opinion, everything of me is weak. وقصر عملي. My actions are nothing, they're insufficient. I don't do anything for you, Ya Allah. وَافْتَقَرْتُ إِلَى رَحْمَتِكَ, and I am a faqir, I am muhtaj, I need your rahmah. فَاسْأَلُكَ, I ask you, يَا قَاضِيَ الْأُمُورِ, the one who is the accomplisher of all things. يَا شَافِيَ الصُّدُورِ, the one who heals hearts. كَمَا تُجِيرُ بَيْنَ الْبُحُورِ, as you rescue from the mist of the sea, rescue me from the fire of the punishment of the fire, the call for destruction and the torment of the grave.
اللهم وما قصر عن رأيي وضعف عنه عملي ولم تبلغه نيتي أو أمنيتي من خير وعدته أحدا من عبادك أو خير أنت معطيه أحدا من خلقك فإني أرغب إليك فيه وأسألك يا رب العالمين وأسألكه يا رب العالمين.
Allahumma, O Allah, I ask you for any good of which my perception has fallen short. Think of what he's saying. Any good which my perception has fallen short. How many good things are there, but to us we don't realize it's good. And my actions have been too weak to achieve. Even when I know it's good, I can't even do it. And my intentions and hopes have failed to reach. I'm not even hoping for this thing, Ya Allah. Any good you have promised to any of your servants or have given to any of your creatures, for truly I desire this good from you and beg you for it, O Lord of all the worlds. What is he showing us here? How many things are good, but our perception doesn't perceive them good? How many things we perceive good, but we don't have the action to achieve it? How many things we don't even know to be good, and we're missing those things? This dua, we're asking Allah for all of those things. And admitting that we don't know. Bismillah.
اللهم اجعلنا هادين مهتدين غير ضالين ولا مضلين.
Ameen.
حربا لأعدائك وسلما لأوليائك. نحب بحبك الناس ونعادي بعداوتك من خالفك من خلقك.
Yes.
اللهم هذا الدعاء وعليك الإجابة.
Ameen.
وهذا الجهد وعليك التكلان. وإنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم.
O Allah, make us guide and be guided. How beautiful. Ya Allah, make us guides for others, and make us be guided. And do not make us lead astray or be led astray. Showing enmity towards your enemies and at peace with your friends. Remember, we love who Allah wants us to love. We hate who Allah wants us to hate. That we love people with your love and are hostile with your hostility towards any of your creatures who have opposed you. We love and hate for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. O Allah, this is my prayer, and its answer is yours to give. This is my effort, meaning this is all I can do is ask you. And upon you is all reliance. And we belong to Allah, and to Him we are returning. And there is no ability, la hawla, to ward off evil, wa la quwwata, and no strength to do good, illa billahi al-aliyyul azim, except through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most high, the most mighty.
اللهم يا ذا الحبل الشديد والأمر الرشيد أسألك الأمن يوم الوعيد والجنة يوم الخلود مع المقربين الشهود والركع السجود الموفين بالعهود إنك رحيم ودود وأنت تفعل ما تريد. سبحان الذي تعطف بالعز وقال به. سبحان الذي لبس المجد وتكرم به. سبحان الذي لا ينبغي التسبيح إلا له. سبحان ذي الفضل والنعم. سبحان ذي القدرة والكرم. سبحان الذي أحصى كل شيء بعلمه.
الله أكبر.
اللهم اجعل لي نورا في قلبي ونورا في قبري ونورا في سمعي ونورا في بصري ونورا في شعري
آمين.
ونورا في بشري ونورا في لحمي ونورا في دمي ونورا في عظامي ونورا من بين يدي ونورا من خلفي ونورا عن يميني ونورا عن شمالي ونورا من فوقي ونورا من تحتي.
آمين.
اللهم زدني نورا واعطني نورا واجعل لي نورا.
Ameen. O Allah, the owner of the firm handhold and the guiding command. I ask you for safety on the day of punishment and paradise on the day of eternity with those who are close to you, who have beheld the truth, who bow and prostrate themselves before you, and who fulfill their covenants. Truly, you are merciful and loving, and you do what you will. Glory be to the one who is characterized by might and who has declared it. Glory, exalted is the one who is clothed in glory and who has shown generosity in it. Glory be to the one who alone is worthy of glorification. Glory be to the owner of favor and blessing. Glory be to the owner of power and generosity. Glory be to the one whose knowledge encompasses all things. O Allah, grant me light in my heart, and light in my grave, light in my hearing, light in my seeing, light in my hair, light in my skin, light in my flesh, light in my blood, light in my bones, light before me, light behind me, light to my right side, light to my left side, light above me, light below me. O Allah, increase me in light and give me light and make me light. These du'as, brothers and sisters, please read them. Please think over them. They're beautiful du'as. Beautiful du'as.
Oh, this is between the Sunnah and the Fajr prayer?
Yes. These are the du'as in between your Sunnah and your Fajr prayer. Do this. In between your Sunnah and Fajr, read this du'a. Read the English. If you can, read the Arabic. But read these du'a, inshaAllah.
But this dua is like, to me, it's like a universal. You can do anytime.
Yes, but at least set one time that you do it, so we're always doing it every day.
Now you mentioned, before you go further, you mentioned something about if you are not praying Sunnah at home, then you don't pray the Tahiyatul Masjid and Sunnah.
No.
Just,
Yeah, that just once. If you already prayed your Sunnahs, you don't pray Tahiyatul Masjid.
oh, you have prayed the Sunnah, you don't pray Tahiyatul Masjid.
No.
But if you have not prayed the Sunnah at home,
Yes, you pray it at the masjid, and that will be both Tahiyatul Masjid and the Sunnah.
same
But-
thing with also for the Door.
Yes, all the prayers.
Door,
Yes.
Rakat,
Yes.
and Asr.
Brothers and sisters, please hold to this dua. Hold to this dua and let's now do amal upon what we read. Let's not just make it that we read it and that's it. No, we want to do amal upon what we read. So write this dua or photocopy this page, but somehow have this with you so that you can take it out and read it. If you're praying at home, the sisters, it's easy to have the book and flip to the page. But we have to make this a part of our action and think about this dua. Inshallah, we'll stop here today.
Make it really small and make it and then put it in a pocket.
Yes, inshallah. May Allah give us tawfiq to act upon what was said here. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Just announcement, I'm sorry.